No fear, no tears, toughen up, man up, man up, man up, man up, Donnie. I slowly opened my eyes as I heard my name. Looking up at my mom, who was standing next to the couch I was napping on in the living room. She dangled a white envelope in front of my face. "You got a letter from your dad?" I grabbed it and stared at the writing on the front. The return name said, Don Acosta, Seattle, Washington. Seattle, Washington. My dad left when I was 3. He just left, he didn't explain why. I remember my mom telling me. Last time I heard, he was working at the Mariners baseball stadium. She continued as I sort of really didn't care to listen. I was angry. He used to write me letters when I was in high school, and it would take me days just to open them. And usually I would just skim through it, and then I would stash the money into my pocket that he would give me. It was hard. It was hard to want to read what he had to say. Majority of the time, it was just a simple, "Hey, baby Don, miss you, proud of you, mijo, write to you next month, love, Dad." That was all. But I mean, what did I really expect, right? Yeah. I was 17 years old when I received that letter. 14 years had gone by since he left my mom with my sister and I. That's 14 birthdays, 10 awards assemblies, 6 years of football, and only God knows how many fierce fucking musicals I was in. And growing up, not having a father present in my life ever bothered me. You know, lucky me, I always had my mom who took over the dad duties whenever I needed them. Like signing me up for football, barbecuing me on my birthdays, beating my ass when I skipped class, and she even taught me how to shave. But as a queer woman, my mom never presented herself as feminine nor masculine. I always saw her as like in between, I guess. I was raised that it was okay to play football one day and then go be a singing poppy flower in The Wizard of Oz another day. Or to watch Star Wars and then to go watch Bring It On. I was never taught what was the right way to grow up as a cis male or how to fit in with the social norms. And I'm thankful for my mom, who never restricted me from finding myself. The letters my dad would write me stopped coming to me because I never responded to him. And it's weird, and I think it will always be weird. It's like talking to a stranger. Yeah. In all honesty though, it's more scary than it is weird. It's scary because he doesn't know who I really am. He doesn't know that his son loves to talk about RuPaul's Drag Race. He doesn't know that he only watches sports just to check out the athletes. He doesn't know that he fucking lives for Rihanna. Hello. And he doesn't know that his son is gay.
What some people don't know about me actually is that I'm a 3rd-generation football player and a 2nd-generation wrestler. And to some people that would be a complete lie, but therein lies a problem that we have, that we still see like, football and wrestling as very masculine sports. That to be anything different from the stereotypical male could be seen as easy to make fun of, or in fact, as a weakness. I remember I was 14 and I had just been moved from freshman level of football to sophomore level while I was still a freshman. So that's just showing you how good I was. It's a cloudy fall day, I'm 14 years old, and I was on the sidelines. Now, I was a defensive tackle, so basically my only job was to break through the offensive line and tackle whoever had the ball. And when I tell this story on stage, I make the joke that I enjoyed it for 3 main reasons, and all 3 involve having rough sex with men in tights. But at that point, I was still very much in the closet. No one really knew that I like guys. But one of my teammates, I guess, had a bit of a gaydar, because I didn't see him for some reason. He got behind me, took his hands, positioned it like a Charlie's Angels gun pose, put it in front of his crotch, and thrust it into my backside.
Men in particular who don't fit the mold. And that's really important to think about these specific, individualized, and when you look at them, that they really constitute a pattern. And we have to examine them. And what ways do we do? Because I don't believe people are born a certain way, but they are conditioned to embody certain ideology and ideas. But once you're penalized so much for failing to conform a certain ideology, and so, for boys and men in our culture, that we have to ask, what do we do to make them a certain way, right? How do we reward them? And what do we do to penalize them? And what are the effects of these things that we do? And we all have a stake in it. So thank you so much for a beautiful story. I really appreciate it, KJ. Thank you.
From Tropeiro and the Rodeio, where cowboys test their mettle against bucking bulls, blaring accordions, and the most bombastic announcer I have ever shut my ears on. He comments on each bull ride by chopping up Portuguese syllables in a linguiça stew, escantando com esse ritmo de carro, vai, 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 em cima do boi, oi homem, homem boi, vai, 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 assim, menino! And the crowd roars to the clinks of cervejas and Hold My Beer by Trace Adkins. Because when you're in the Texas of Brazil, American country is also Brazilian country. And the rodeo goes on and on until a duo of bros takes the stage. Their Brazilian country music, which is called música sertaneja, named after the savannah we're in, the sertão, tells gripping stories about what a man is going to do to you, woman, after he's done with his cachaça. He's gonna buck you, he's gonna ride you, he's gonna croon you with whiskey-soaked lyrics to stay in his bed tonight, and the crowd drinks their binga, all in good fun. The crowd sings on, loaded out of their minds. Now, I am neither loaded out of my mind, nor do I look like part of the strapping young stallion, or the mare to be strapped in bed. I am a gay Brazilian American cutout of a cowboy. The shirt is too big, the boots are too brown, the build is too short, the tacky hat. The country bros flash their abs and thrust their dicks in their mics, and I can't help but compare my props to theirs being lauded. The bros debate about which morena, which brown woman they should take backstage tonight. The crowd loves it. Debate in the heart of the Texas do Brasil begets a feeding frenzy. You see, I'm sure you've been to a Brazilian rodízio before, where meat is offered to you on swords for your yes or no consent. That is more feminist than the real Texas do Brasil in Piauí. Here it's National Geographic. Okay? Faux hawks, jaguars, and cowboy hats with limbs like dorsal fins cruise through the schools of Carolinas, Lanas, and Robertas. With liquid courage, one man corners a Roberta while his friends separate her flock from Roberta with their musk oxen airs. The girls wonder where Roberta has gone. Disappeared. And one
said, I work with a theater company, and we teach people how to create original musical plays based on their personal stories. And we mostly do this with incarcerated youth, so I work with youth between the ages of 16 and 24. And they have a variety of backgrounds, a lot of trauma and abuse in their background. And a lot of times people ask me, they say, how are you able to do this? Because I've been doing it for about 14 years. And they're like, how are you able to do this? And usually my response to them is, well, I think my upbringing and my background gives me an in with them. Because someone says, like, if you're a foster kid, you recognize other foster kids. So if you go through certain things, you recognize other people that have went through similar things, and you're able to connect with them. You have an in that other people don't have. And I think even my students could kind of sense it about me, even though we don't always talk about it, because my job is to be there more so for them, and not necessarily to tell them my trauma, but to be there for them through their trauma. And so I was thinking about this, and the name Lacey Osley came up from my memories as a man who is definitely toxic. And even just having the name Lacey, I should have known. Like when I was a little kid, I didn't like him off the bat, you know. I think I knew off the bat that he was just a bitch ass dude. You know what I mean? And so, you know, my mom started dating him when I was like maybe 5 or 6, and it was just some things that just didn't sit right off the back, but I couldn't give him voice because I was too young, you know. I don't know if it was the fact that he had this card that had Butterball written over the back. I don't know what that was about. It was weird. I know he was a DJ, you know, and that was his DJ name, but I was just like, even at 5, I was like, what kind of whack ass name is that? DJ Butterball? I mean, he wasn't like big or anything. It was weird. You know?
This is the attitude that I've had to cultivate through many years of study and experimentation and endless amounts of self-reflection, if you know what I mean. I grew up in the 80s, the height of the nerdy white cis female fantasy. Every music video had scantily clad blonde women sporting bikini bottoms that were hiked up on their hips and up their long, flat derrieres. You guys know what I'm talking about. Each movie or television show was about a man being motivated to find a woman, fuck a woman, or even make a woman. And without realizing it, my brain was being washed into believing that the ideal woman, the beautiful woman, a woman that's worth loving, was not me. She was young and tall, blonde, bone thin, with a cute button nose that by itself could make a man come in his pants. I was totally the opposite. I was chubby with frizzy hair and frizzy brown hair and a nose that spread so widely across my face that I swear to God I could feel the nostrils on my earlobes. And looking in the mirror, I knew that in order to get anyone to mess with this bag of tricks, I had one option: personality. Personality is the perfect reason and explanation why incredibly hot women always ended up with those nerdy, pesky, stalkery type of men in all those movies. I mean, their behavior was deplorable. Endless shots of young men peeking into walls of locker rooms, drooling over topless photos, panty raids, feeling up young co-eds as they slept, boyfriends offering a feel-up or a cup of feel of a girlfriend in exchange for a few dollars. I mean, they were disgusting. But God, I wanted to be one of the ladies they wanted.
I went at this particular McDonald's. I remember being much taller, lanky, and never caring really what my hair looked like compared to the other girls that were my age. My friends wore pink, they flirted with boys, and their hair was always in like those perfect double fringe braids. You know? And at one point, when we were inside that play tunnel, and it's like a huge maze, like it goes all the way around on the outside and everything, and I kind of lost them, and I went down one direction and I hit a dead end. And at the end of that dead end were 2 boys sitting there. And I'm like, ugh, ran into them. Blind corner, they're right there. And they're dressed in camouflage pants and shirts. They stared at me with an awkward long silence. They stared again, but more intensely. And they were kind of looking me up and down, and I had really long, I naturally have curly hair, believe it or not, and when it's long, it's very matted and long, and it's just gross, and I was wearing my disheveled AYSO jersey, you know, because I'm coming from my soccer game, and my knees are grass stained and everything, and they look at me, and then the one boy, he gets kind of brave, he gets the courage up, and he goes, "Are you a boy or a girl?" And I thought, what? I must have blinked like 100 times. I'm like, why is he asking me that? That's a crazy question. I'm a girl, right? I'm a girl, right? Wait. And I look at my friends with the perfect double French braids, and they're giggling like only little girls giggle, right? And I go, I see the pink ribbons in their hair. I hate pink. Why do I hate pink? Sorry, Elizabeth. Why can't I wear camo like those two boys? Man, I'd look good in camouflage.